The evening air smelled sweet, with flowers blooming all around as Molara Salvador, a smart journalist who loved solving mysteries, walked towards the old building of St. Mary's Hospital. Molara's shoes made soft crunching sounds on the graveled path leading to the entrance. A big charity event had just ended, and the streets of Lagos were glowing with warm streetlights and the distant sounds of cars. But here, near the hospital, it was quiet, as if time had stopped. The archway above her, once beautiful, was now cracked and broken, like it had been forgotten for years. Vines climbed over the iron gates and broken windows, wrapping around the building like it was their home. The hospital looked strong but sad, a shadow of a place it used to be, a spot that once brought hope to the community. As Molara got closer to the front door, the chilly evening air seemed to creep into her clothes, a warning of how cold and damp it would be inside. The hospital had been shut down for over a decade because of money problems and scandals. Now, it stood as a reminder of all that was lost, with empty halls holding the memories of a forgotten time. Molara carried a flashlight, a notebook, and a camera as she pushed open the big wooden doors. They creaked loudly, making a sound that seemed to wake up the darkness inside. Stepping in, she smelled something old and musty, like the place had not been touched in ages. The lobby, once grand and welcoming, was now filled with dust and shadows. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, but their crystals were gone, leaving behind skeleton-like frames. It was clear that the hospital used to be fancy, but now only pieces of its glory were left. Her flashlight lit up the mess around her. Broken chairs, ripped posters, and old magazines were scattered on the floor. The walls were dirty and peeling, with faded paints barely showing the cheerful colors they once had. The hospital's past life peeked out from under the ruins, showing how time had changed everything. Molara moved slowly, her steps echoing in the empty space. She stopped by a dusty glass display case. Inside, there was an old surgical mask and some yellowed photos. The photos showed smiling doctors and nurses in their uniforms, looking hopeful and proud. Their happy faces seemed so out of place in the sadness of the abandoned hospital. A sudden creak made Molara look up at the stairways leading to the upper floors. The stairs, once beautiful, were now broken and worn, with wooden steps rotting and railings rusting. Molara climbed carefully, her flashlight leading the way. She reached the first floor where patients used to stay. It was eerily quiet, with nothing but the drip of water from a leaky ceiling breaking the silence. The patients' rooms were empty, their beds dusty and unused. Molara's flashlight showed old curtains hanging by threads and cracked tiles on the floor. The walls had faded pictures of happy scenes that now looked sad, like they were crying with the weight of forgotten memories. In one room, a small teddy bear lay on the floor. Its fur was dirty, and one of its eyes was missing. It looked like he had been waiting for someone who never came back. Molara walked into the maternity ward, where babies used to be born. Her flashlight showed faded pictures of happy families on the wall, but they were cracked and peeling now. The baby cribs stood empty, their metal bars rusted. The room felt heavy, filled with untold stories and memories that hung in the silence like ghosts. As she explored more, Molara found a hidden door behind an old wardrobe in one of the rooms. She pushed it open and found a small storage closet filled with dusty equipment and old files. Among the files, she discovered a leather-bound journal. The cover was cracked, and the pages inside were filled with notes written by a nurse called Evelyn. Molara read the journal and learned about the hospital's past. Evelyn had written about how the staffs worked hard and cared deeply for their patients. But as Molara flipped through the pages, the tone changed. Evelyn wrote about a mysterious illness that spread quickly. Patients grew very sick, and the staffs became desperate. The last few entries were strange and hinted at a secret being hidden. Evelyn's final words suggested the hospital's sudden closure wasn't what it seemed. Molara's heart raced as she realized how important her discovery was. This hospital, once a place of hope, had become a symbol of sadness and mystery. The journal showed how the people here had struggled and how their stories had been lost. Before leaving, Molara stood in the empty lobby one last time, looking at the dusty chandeliers and the cracked walls. The hospital was still beautiful in a way, but it also carried a deep sadness. Its history wasn't just about the past. It was about people who had lived, worked, and suffered here. With a final sweep of her flashlights, Molara stepped outside into the cool night. She felt the weight of what she had uncovered pressing on her. Behind her, the hospital stood quietly, keeping its secrets. But Molara knew the story wasn't over. The past was calling out, and she was determined to uncover the truth.